bonus episode for the Spooktacular.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Survive This Crit. To wrap up our Spooktacular Halloween Special series, we wanted to take some time to dive in and talk about some of our past Halloween traditions, favorite costumes, and more. And please enjoy. Yes, there will be photos from our childhood Halloween costumes on our video platform. So, let's dive right in. Nick, what was Halloween like for you as a child?
Halloween for me was, your very typical trick-or-treating. I was doing that until about, I want to say 15. Then after that, it kind of just became a night to hang out with friends late at night, dress up in costumes, eat a ton of candy. And then after college, the tradition just became partying, go out and party.
Party, even though you don't
Party.
drink, but
Hey,
still
I
party.
don't need to get drunk to make stupid decisions.
Mm.
My bad. I don't need to get drunk to make fun decisions.
There you go. So, Halloween for me as a child, we didn't trick or treat a lot. We would, because of how our neighborhood, my parents' neighborhood was set up, it's a lot of farm properties. So, everyone has like a couple acres and it's not as like convenient and just didn't have a lot of trick or treaters. I think maybe in the whole time I lived there, we got like one trick or treater maybe a year, but our neighbors would always leave out candy. So usually we'd go to like a church festival or something. Once I finally was in junior high, I was allowed to trick or treat at the cool place, which was Mount Vernon. If you're familiar with Prescott, Arizona, Mount Vernon is a neighborhood that has the coolest array of old houses, and they go so hard. The whole block decorates every year and they give out great candy, and it's a whole super fun experience if you're ever a tourist there.
Yeah, I remember one year in college, I had stopped by there for the first time, and there was an actual band playing in the front yard, and
Yeah,
everyone's just out there dancing. It was pretty intense. I loved it.
I've been to a
Oh,
haunted house there. They'll set up haunted houses too, and there are some cool like haunted house experiences I have from going there. But
mhm.
when I was in college, I went to a couple Halloween parties my freshman year, but after that I kind of just started hosting. So I would host with my friends, and then we'd host kickbacks. And then once I started dating Joshua, and then through marriage, we've been doing a traditional Halloween party every single year. So,
One thing I forgot to mention too was like when it came to trick or treating, I always had the pillowcase, and the goal was to always fill it full of candy. I think I only ever got maybe probably halfway up, maybe even a quarter.
oh, see, the
Well,
focus for
yeah,
me was
but
dressing up. I loved the dressing up more than the candy.
no, I was all about the candy. Well, I was all about dressing up in something scary too. That was the big goal. But the candy was obviously the favorite part for me. And then, of course, watching those cartoon specials.
Oh, yes, we
Um,
can't forget those.
my favorite probably as a kid was the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy Halloween special. For anyone who maybe watched that as a kid, just this they gave their own little fake origin story of Jack o' lanterns being based off
Oh,
of some immortal prankster named Jack who had the head of a pumpkin because his actual head was cut off by a queen
oh my gosh.
for taking a prank way too far.
I love it. All right. When we were young, probably our parents dressed us in our first few Halloween costumes. So, what was the first Halloween costume that you remember having?
The first one I remember. So you're right. My parents tried to dress me up, but even as a young child, I made it a point to make my costume scary. So the first one I remember, my parents wanted to dress me up as a Teletubby,
Mm.
and I just persistently fought my mother and father on it. And eventually they got me to agree to it, but on one condition that I gave, which was they had to let me wear a scream mask. And not just any scream mask, this scream mask had a little heart-shaped pump that you hid underneath your shirt so you could squeeze it and blood would come out. So I just walked around with the body of a Teletubby, but the scream mask face on.
That's amazing. That's probably
I
what is
think
actually underneath Teletubbies, though.
probably. I think I was maybe 4 at the time.
Wow. Dang.
And ever
See,
since
I
then, it
don't have a
was
cool origin story like that. My mom, the first pictures I've seen of me for Halloween, I was a dog. Would you consider that your favorite costume as a child?
That's definitely the funniest. My favorite as a child,
Hmm.
it would probably have to be. Man, I remember one year I got to dress up as a. I think it was called a Crypt Keeper mask. It was some type of demon monster looking mask with long teeth that go out like this. Um,
Oh, cool.
and it just like had this like acid burned flesh look on it. And I got
Hmm.
to wear that over like the Scream costume with like, the black robe going on. And
Yeah.
then, so I got this giant plastic demon sword that I got to carry
Nice.
around too.
I love that.
So here are all the different costumes I remember. So there was that one year. Another year, I was a headless man, and we even had a candy bowl that had an electronic head in it.
Uh-huh.
So that way, whenever you reach for candy in it, it would make a noise. So I got to carry that around.
Oh, cool.
And then I remember, so I always went for the big latex masks as a kid. So another year, I had a skeleton Viking mask with three faces on it.
Oh my gosh. You got to be such cool things. I was never allowed to be anything too violent. So I'll get into that when I talk about my costumes, but do you have any other memorable ones?
Let's see. So not as scary. I stopped being scary when I got into high school and I had to wear costumes like bring costumes to school. So one year I went as Captain America and I actually made my own shield out
Oh,
of a
that's cool.
satellite dish. Painted it myself and everything. My dad helped me out a lot, actually. And the costume itself didn't look great. The shield is really cool though. Got a lot of props on that. I was trying to go for like 1940s Captain America. And
Oh,
then the
cool.
last year, I wasn't trying to be scary, but I think that actually ended up being my scariest yet. I went as a clown.
Oh gosh. Yeah,
And the
that
best
would do
part
it.
the best part about it was was walking around school dressed as a clown, and the afro wig covered my face just enough where people couldn't tell it was me at all. So I would
Oh
just like
Lord.
waddle up to people, like my friends, and just like make
Mhm.
clown noises, and they would like look at me petrified and be like, "I don't know who you are, but I'm about to punch you." And then I take off the wig, like, "It's me, it's me, it's me, it's Nick."
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. I think some of my most memorable ones as a child were probably when I was really young, I always wanted to be something scary, but I wasn't allowed to be. So I would always compromise and be like something that I could carry a weapon. So I was a
Mhm.
pirate for like 4 years. I varied in costumes. I was a pirate queen, pirate, etc. I love pirates. And then I was a 1920s gangster with a little machine gun one year in a fedora. I then tried to be normal and do group costumes. Like I was a crayon with a group of girls one year. And then the best ones, though, were in high school for me. I was Sally one year from Nightmare Before Christmas. I did the whole thing where I painted my whole face blue and I had to be up for my 7:30 a.m. class. But yes, I was blue. It looked pristine. I will definitely include pictures because I'm very proud of that costume still as an adult.
And for people who maybe don't know you that well, that makes perfect sense, actually. I'm pretty sure Kylie might just be the world's biggest Nightmare Before Christmas fan.
Yeah, my dog is named Zero, and how my now husband asked me out was through a drawing from The Nightmare Before Christmas. So, what was your most embarrassing costume? Because everyone has one.
My most embarrassing, probably. Oh, you know what? It was last year. So my wife and I, Kaya, we always try and do a group costume now, or couples costume rather. And last year we were Milo and Kita from Atlantis, the Lost Empire.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, Kaya was working on Halloween. So it was just me outside with the bonfire, handing out candy to kids. But basically all the parents, when I was handing out candy to the kids, they'd come up to me and they asked me, "Are you supposed to be Jeffrey Dahmer?"
Oh my gosh, no.
And so that was going on all night. And I keep telling them, "No, no, 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 I'm not Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm Milo from Atlantis." And luckily the parents, since they were, at least older than me, they knew what I was talking about.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's
But
actually
I
hilarious.
kid you not, it was just consistent. People were like, "Are you Jeffrey Dahmer? Are you Jeffrey Dahmer?"
Well, it makes sense because
No,
if you're by yourself and the movie came out, like there was a Jeffrey Dahmer movie that came out
yeah, it didn't
past
help that
year.
that came out the same time, the same year. So it's
Oh my
fresh in
gosh.
everyone's mind.
All right. My most embarrassing. One year, my mom DIY'd costumes and she bought us like sweatpants suits. And my sister went as a pink bunny. So it was just a pink sweatsuit with like ears and a tail. And for me, she got me a white sweatsuit and painted dots on so I could be a Dalmatian. And as an insecure little elementary school student, I went to like our school's carnival, and my teacher, my principal, immediately goes, "Oh, you're a cow. What a great costume." And my little elementary ego just shattered. It's like, no, I'm a dog. But it didn't matter. He was convinced I was a cow, so that was the worst one by far. Pretty upsetting. For you, do you prefer DIY or store-bought costumes?
I'm in the phase of my life where I'm all about DIY costumes. I think in terms of all the costumes I've worn though throughout the years, the store bought have always been better. But I have a lot of fun with my wife trying to put together costumes right now. So, trying to plan that out. There's some fun to it. It doesn't come out looking as nice as I'd like it, but what are you gonna do?
You got to start buying your costumes, apparently.
Nah, that's way too much money. I'm what they
Um,
call cheap.
yeah, you got to be expensive as a child. Now you're a cheap adult. I probably am more store-bought because, but I recycle costumes. Like last year, we went to Six Flags for a Halloween event. So we went as Calvin and Hobbes again, even though that was our costume a couple years ago. So I get pieces that I can reuse. I would say store bought because I also like doing special effects makeup, and I can't do that without like some baseline to work off of, like a Ben Nye makeup kit.
Yeah, the thing I think one of my favorites I have seen of yours with the special effects stuff or the makeup that you have, the Voldemort costume.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that as my favorite couple's costume. So last year, Joshua and I were Voldemort and Dumbledore. I was Voldemort. That one was really fun. The makeup, though, I only had like 30 minutes to do it before people were showing up at our house for the party. So I had to do it a lot faster than I wanted to, and I didn't have a chance to practice it beforehand. So it's not perfect. Any makeup person would know that I probably did not use the best techniques, but I had the bald cap and everything and got to run around yelling Avada Kedavra all night long. So that was really fun. And we're gearing up for something fun this year. What was your
Ooh.
favorite couples costume that you've done though?
So favorite couples costume for me was probably it was the first Halloween Kai and I spent together. It was one of our first dates. So we were like a week, 2 weeks or so into dating.
You guys did a couples
And
costume 2 weeks into dating?
yeah, well,
That's
we were going
awesome.
out with friends on a group date. And that was also the night that I showed Kaya for the first time the movie Hocus Pocus, which is a great film. But
Yeah.
I needed a costume last minute, and so I went out to Walmart like at 2 a.m. and got zombie makeup. And I started making, so I did like, I originally came out as a zombie, and
Mm-hmm.
then Kaya showed up and she was Ariel from The Little Mermaid. And so, and so as a last minute effort to make it into a couple's costume, I unbuttoned my white collared shirt that I was wearing a little bit, and I was zombie Prince Eric.
I love that. You should be a spooky version of whatever your couple's costume is every year. That is so good.
So that's probably my favorite.
I love zombie Prince Eric. That's what would have happened if Ariel hadn't saved him. He would have died
Hmm.
and he could have been an underwater zombie. Their story
Something
may
like
have been a
that.
lot simpler if they had done that. Not
All right.
saying Eric
So
should have drowned, but
so
mhm.
next question for you, Kylie. Are you all about the chocolate candy or the fruit candy?
Oh, chocolate candy, 100%. I'll like enjoy a Smarties occasionally, but I'm not really a fruit candy kind of girl. What about you?
Mm. As a kid, I was all about the fruit candy. But
Mhm.
as I've grown up, I've matured. I too can appreciate a nice, well-aged Hershey's bar from time to time.
Yes, that's what
Yes.
matters now.
No, I'm all about the chocolate now. One funny thing is I used to enjoy fruit candy so much, specifically Skittles. Whenever I went to the movie theaters with my dad, I would mix Skittles with buttered popcorn.
That actually sounds kind of okay. It's not
It
totally
was
psycho because I would do M&Ms with popcorn.
No, it was kind of gross. I don't know why I liked it. I look back and it was totally gross. And I would eat so many Skittles. I remember one time it was with my baby teeth. The dentist had to prematurely pull a baby tooth, a molar, because I was eating so many Skittles and not brushing my teeth that I actually rotted a tooth to the core. And he showed me it, and I could see the core of the tooth. And leading up to it was just this multicolored hole or crevice in the tooth.
This is a note for Nick's nephews. Make sure you brush your teeth so
Hmm.
you don't end up like Nick.
Exactly.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, you're hardcore. You're
Oh yeah, yeah.
hardcore.
So, next question: do you like candy corn?
No. Do you?
From time to time, I do. Yes.
I think it's disgusting, but that's
If
just
there's
me.
like a bowl of it just around, I mean, I'll eat it. Sure.
All right. You're
I used to do the thing where like you would take the candy corn and you would eat it one color at a time. First you nibble
Yeah,
on the
I've seen
orange
people
tip.
do that. I've tried candy corn maybe once and I just didn't like it, so I never tried it again.
Again, this was back when I was like a teenager and like nothing grossed me out or was too sweet to me. Nowadays, might be a little different. I haven't had candy corn in years, but
Nowadays, our guts are much older than we actually are because we both have digestive issues to a certain degree. So,
a little bit.
the next question: what was your favorite candy to get around Halloween time?
My favorite candy, well, you see, I would just take whatever candy my parents were handing out because
Hmm.
we were the house that handed out the full-size chocolate bars and we never ran
Cool.
out. So I would just like take the Three Musketeers, the Hershey's, all the good stuff, and just throw it in my bag at the end of the night.
Try to fill up your pillowcase.
Exactly. Of all of them, I probably would have to say first was Three Musketeers, and then eventually it became Milky Way.
I love a Three Musketeers too.
Mm. That Nougaty Center.
Yeah. For me, probably M&Ms would be number one. Three Musketeers, and then the Reese's peanut butter cups that are like pumpkin shaped and coated in
Mm.
chocolate. I'm actually slightly allergic to peanuts, not to the point where I need an EpiPen, but to the point where my stomach doesn't like it. So, I'm not supposed to eat them, but around Halloween, I will find a way to eat a Reese's pumpkin because they're so dang good. And those are, yeah, I will snack on M&Ms anytime though.
For
What
me,
age?
Reese's peanut butter cups are more like a Christmas candy. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it maybe you got introduced to them when it was Christmas like shaped or themed?
No, that's true. I remember I think it was freshman or sophomore year of high school. Up until then, I absolutely hated peanut butter. And I don't know if it was because I was like starving myself because of wrestling or something, but my parents did their yearly thing of laying out a bunch of chocolate, including little peanut butter cups in bowls around the house. And I don't know, it looked good to me that day. And I tried it and I was like, all right, I guess I like peanut butter now.
There you go. Well, also peanut butter with a lot of extra sugar is going to be good to anybody. I think that's why I
Mm.
liked it too. What age did you stop trick or treating?
I want to say probably about 14 or 15. By then, I started making friends that instead of like going out, they just wanted to like go to one person's house, have a bonfire, and just do some stupid games, teenage boy games.
As teenage boys do.
The one I specifically remember was you had to spin around in a circle in the front lawn 20 times, and then you had to immediately stop on the brakes, like stop, and then we shone a light in your face. You had to just stay there without falling, and if you could do that, you won.
We did a similar version to that where we'd spin around and then we'd have to run and chase somebody. But your version with the light being shined in your face sounds so much worse.
Hmm. It was terrible. Okay,
I
what
think
about you?
I think I probably stopped trick or treating. The last time I remember was when I was 16 because I went with friends. We went to Mount Vernon. We were all Alice in Wonderland themed. So I was the Queen of Hearts that year. That was another year I did a good bit of makeup and had like a full floor length dress. That was a cool one. But I would guess 16 probably. 17 and 18, I helped host, and 16, we did a haunted hallway at my school that I helped create. So at least 16 and 17, I was involved in that in some degree. And we'd
Mm.
create basically a haunted house through our school hallway and have like a little Halloween carnival, which was fun. Did you go to the same houses every year to trick or treat, or did you try different neighborhoods?
I for the most part, I consistently stayed in whatever neighborhood I was at. There were a couple times, like maybe like 2 or 3 years, I didn't go to my normal neighborhood, but
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, yeah, it was pretty consistent.
Nice. Yeah, probably same for me because we didn't trick or treat in our neighborhood very much. But when by the time I was allowed to go trick or treat on Mount Vernon, that's what I did pretty consistently. Would you rather visit a haunted house or do a corn maze?
Haunted house for sure. I feel like you can get more done in terms of quality scaring in a
Mm-hmm.
haunted house. Corn mazes, I feel like it's a little bit easier to see people hiding behind things. But there is something out here in Tucson called Terror in the Corn that I really want to check out because it's one of the most heavily advertised things out here in Tucson.
Well, then
So
you have to do it this year and let us know what it's like.
maybe I will. Maybe this is the year I finally do it.
Yeah. For me, probably a haunted house as well because it's more fun. But would you rather walk through a haunted house or act in one as a scare actor?
Ooh, I've never done scaring as in a haunted house before. I probably do the scaring now because I'm too used to just walking through a haunted house. Did I ever tell you about you know this because, we both lived in Prescott at least at one point in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
But there was the Halloween maze that always opened up at the Gateway Mall.
Yes, I
Um,
have a story about that.
yeah, I remember one year, a fraternity brother of mine and we decided we wanted to check it out. So we were checking it out, and we were both the type of guys that we didn't really scare easily. We mostly laughed at horror stuff. And so we were walking around kind of laughing. Things like jumped out at us, and we'd be like, oh, and then we'd laugh about it. Ah. One person in particular, I think it was like a teenage girl or something. She spooked me like from behind. She just
Uh-huh.
like came out of nowhere. And I kid you not, this was me. She comes up from behind. I think she like taps me on my shoulder or something. And I turn around and I go, "Ah!" I'm basically screaming and laughing like a maniacal person. And I'm like 2 inches from her face, staring her eye to eye.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I would have given anything to have seen that live. Oh, when I went to that same one once with a group of friends from school. That it was when I was in high school though, and Corey went with her then boyfriend or guy that was they were gonna date. And I remember in particular, she has a phobia of elevators a little bit. And they put us in a fake elevator that like shook around, and she was like gonna have a heart attack. But the more notable part was I went with a friend from high school, and I, out of fear or something, held my hand through most of it. And then by the time we got to the end, it's at the very end, it's a chainsaw guy who comes running at us. He pushes me into the chainsaw man and leaves. The
Yeah,
whole
that
time
sounds like
he's trying
a
to have a brave face, and he left me, and I'm just like, sorry, and like trying to get around the chainsaw dude.
there's always a case of some guy just like throwing some little girl or something like that to you know as a sacrifice to whoever the monsters are.
Yeah, apparently I was a sacrifice. I would have liked to have been filled in on that
Mhm.
previously. But so what do you do for Halloween now? This kind of leads us into some things that we share.
Well, so I don't necessarily have a set tradition now. These past few years just haven't really been consistent. It's usually been either a party with you or just handing out candy. The pandemic kind of messed that up a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but I think going forward, Now it's gonna be just, chilling out in my front yard, starting a bonfire, making s'mores, and handing out candy, and not looking like a serial killer.
There you go. True. On actual Halloween, I probably will be doing something very similar. Typically on Halloween, like the weekend before, the weekend of, Joshua and I will host a party. We've been doing it since we've been dating, and we've done it in various locations. Like the first year we were living in Virginia, we actually flew back to Arizona to co host in Phoenix with Nick and Kaya and Mike and May. So that was really fun. And then this past year, we were in Virginia and we hosted a party for all of our friends. But we love a good Halloween party, hosting a
Mm.
good kickback with beer pong or water pong and playing games and doing a costume contest. Just mwah, that's perfect for me.
So is that
Um,
what you would say is like what your typical ideal Halloween party looks like?
Probably, yeah, because we like doing a mix of games and just nothing too structured. Because I've seen in the past when we've tried to be too structured versus not having any structure. I will say one fun memory was the first year that we hosted together and we played assassin in an empty house. Which, for
Mhm.
those of you who don't know, you turn off all the lights and one person tries to fake kill everybody in the house while everybody else is hiding. That was a really fun memory for me.
For those
Yeah,
who maybe know it by a different name, you might call it Murder in the Dark.
there we go. Yeah, I'd never played it though until you introduced it to us. So that was really fun.
The best
But
part is you have to play Tiptoe Through the Tulips when
yes,
you're playing that game. Makes it so much better.
it makes it terrifying. And we will hopefully be playing that this year. So, do you decorate your house for Halloween? And when do you decorate?
You know, Kai and I have been pretty lackluster
Mhm.
about our decorating. We haven't had a lot of luck finding some good decorations, but we're slowly getting there. Last year we finally got the lights that we wanted. We got some LED lights going around our house now, and we can flash them out as orange or purple. Like we will always like carve pumpkins. I remember one year it was sad because the only decoration we had was a small wooden sign that said the word spooky on it.
You sent me a picture of that too. I remember that year. You guys were like, here's our decorations. And I was like,
In my defense, Kaya has been in school every year since we've been married up until now. So she has been incredibly busy, and I always need her help with decorating. So that's the reason why. So this year we might see something different. We might actually, get our house to look kind of spooky.
there you go. We decorate every year, mid September ish, except COVID year 2020. I think I decorated in like July because I was like, I need to feel something. But normally I decorate in September or late August. And I do pretty much all indoor decorations because I don't own the homes that we live in. So, but we do go pretty hard. Like last year, we got LED light bulbs for inside. So we had like black lights everywhere, which was really cool. But yeah, that's kind of our basic ones. We do a lot of indoor decorations. I'm probably going to be putting up my decorations tomorrow for this year. So that's the
All
goal, which
right.
we're filming this on September 3rd. So, and then I'll pack them up for our Halloween party in Arizona. So that way we don't have to pay money to go buy more decorations. We can just use the ones I have.
And Kai and I will start decorating promptly on October 7th.
So, we have like just a couple more. What is on your Halloween watch list every year?
Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare Before Christmas. Let's see. I always like to dig back on old cartoon Halloween specials. So like the Grand Adventures of Billy Mandy one I was telling you about.
Mhm.
What else? The Kim Possible Halloween special.
Yeah.
A lot of the Disney ones. And also the Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors are always a go-to for me as well.
The Charlie Brown Halloween episodes are always like ones that I like to watch too. I
Mhm.
think for me, Nightmare Before Christmas and Elm Street are both on mine. Scream is definitely on mine. And if I could think of one more, the Scooby Doo live action movies from the early 2000s, I love those.
Oh, those are great.
Oh my gosh, I love them so much. So that is always something I watch. Last couple questions. These are their werewolf theme questions. So, would you ever dress up as a werewolf for Halloween?
I want to so bad. That's been like my want since I was like a teenager is to dress up as a werewolf. This year, I even went
You
to the
should do it.
effort.
Werewolf and Little Red Riding Hood. Do it.
No, Kaya's not down. I already asked; she's not down. But
Kaya.
I even found my old Letterman jacket from high school, and I want to wear that be Teen Wolf so
Oh
bad.
my gosh. I'm sorry. I love Kaya. She's my family, but I am gonna call her out here. Come on, Kaya. Let Nick live out his werewolf dreams.
I know. I want to be one so bad. Well, I'm sure it'll happen one day, 1 year.
1 year. Okay. Well,
What
maybe
about
all
you?
four of us will have to do a group costume 1 year, and that's how we'll make it happen.
Would you dress up as a werewolf?
Me, probably not. The makeup would be fun, but I
Tisk 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 tisk.
well, this year Joshua almost was going to be a werewolf. So we had our costume theme. I'm not going to fully reveal what it is because it's not Halloween yet, but we are doing something within the Buffy the Vampire Slayer universe. And it was a conversation for a while that Joshua could be Oz from Buffy the Vampire Slayer and I could be Willow, which Oz is a werewolf and Willow is a witch. And so we talked about that for a bit because Joshua doesn't want to shave. In years past, he didn't have a beard, or the beard was part of the costume. Like when he was Dumbledore, that was a lot of that was his hair. And then I
Hmm.
think I added hair for him.
Little
So
beard extensions.
little beard
Should
extensions. But
things men usually wear.
yes, of course. But no, I personally probably would not be a werewolf, but I think I Joshua almost was. So by association, 1 degree away, we almost did that this year. So our last werewolf question, since we're kind of agreeing werewolves are fiction, but do you think people tend to act strange on the full moon?
Personally, I've never seen it for myself, but according to my wife, every time there's a full moon, the hospital, for those of you who don't know, she's a nurse, the hospital is more crowded than any other days of the month. So, yes, I do think people act strangely on full moons. They at least get into more accidents and need more
Yeah,
medical attention.
I would agree with that. Because I think Kaya has told me the same thing, and I found it just really fascinating that statistically, there's a lot more that happens on a full moon than otherwise. So
Mhm.
I think we are just about done with our Halloween questions here.
Well, to all of our listeners out there, thank you for listening to this special bonus episode for our Halloween Spooktacular. Hashtag make werewolf sexy again. We hope you had a lot of fun listening. Also, don't forget if you do comment with your character name, we'll make sure to add you as an NPC into one of our RPG episodes.
Woohoo! Well, happy Halloween, everybody. Stay safe, stay spooky, and make werewolves sexy again.